a constant, but the way we put it forward is what defines us. And I believe since we are going to be showing this to our students, I'm also thinking of them from a teacher's perspective, that what's important is to tell them it's okay if you don't like something, but there's a way in which you have to learn to express what is it that you want. Any good marriage also requires that. Until and unless you know, you express what you need, things will never work in your favor.
So unlike him, I worked for one company for 25 years.
Wow.
Okay, but I changed only 3 jobs in my whole career. But 1 year before I left the job, my boss knew that I was going to leave, and we were always in this active communication. Where should I be going and what should I be doing? Because that was like the trust and the communication was so open. Today I find it very surprising that people don't want to divulge the name of the company that they're going to, and that's become the norm. When I first heard it, I found it ridiculous because I was not cut from that cloth. But
so I think as far as 25 years back in my Excel classrooms, we were often told that people leave managers, they don't leave the organization, right? And I think if you reflect upon that, and that goes back to the culture of one, right? It's everybody and every interaction or every partnership, every relationship is a culture in that way. I truly believe that sometimes we tend to take this discussion too far, because there are some exits which are happy exits for both sides, right? So it's not that every exit is something to be worried about, and the ones that are involuntary, I mean the organization didn't want them to leave, or they didn't want to leave but they had to. I think it is those cases. In a lot of cases, the exit is just the reaction or the outcome. As you rightly mentioned, the trigger had happened long back. We as managers can't pick those cues that early on. That means we don't have the pulse of the organization or people with us. And all the things that we talked about, giving people the right opportunity, creating that right culture, knowing how they're feeling on an ongoing basis, how we engage with them. If we knew that, then all of this would become almost like a planned event, happy for everybody, and we won't have these surprises. So I think it's a great topic to discuss. And we as a society, or we as an economy, which is now more people are getting bumped around and getting into senior roles, this becomes even more important, because we don't want people leaving just because they couldn't communicate. They leave for solid reasons, this is well and good. But just because they couldn't talk to one another, there was a communication gap, is an issue that we should address, because exit of that nature is a cost to everybody.
There's an adage which is that don't burn your bridges behind your back, right? And it's even more crucial now in the world of social media. Earlier at least, it was an organic transfer of perception of a person or an employee. When you went from one organization to the other, they would do reference checks and all, and it was very organic. But now everything is on social media, right? So I think it's important to have that kind of, especially if you're talking to students, for them to know that it's not just about your current peers and your current organization that knows about you and how you work. It's actually the whole world which is privy to how you are behaving, you know. And so by that logic, even more important that not to burn your bridges behind your back. If you want to leave, leave happily. Have a reason why you're leaving.
I think one thing that happens is, especially talking about the current generation, they are always on the other side of the table as far as leaving, quitting is concerned. So they aren't really privy to the problems that are faced by those they are leaving behind. Can I now invite you all to, share some of these challenges that you all as people working in the organizations tend to face if this silently quitting, quiet quitting, or just leaving at a moment's notice happens? What are some of the challenges that you all face?
I don't know why we tend to talk too much about people quitting and people leaving the organizations. And I don't think 90% of them are leaving because they have a bad boss or the organization is bad. 90% of them are leaving for opportunities. And we get all egoistic about, oh shit, why is this guy leaving? Something must be wrong with the boss, something must be wrong with the organization. No, I quit every time, 15 times for opportunities. And my bosses are aware of it, My team is aware of it, and I articulated this. And the people that you see, and especially young people, and they're made villains in most discussions now because we all think of ourselves as old people. Actually, the bigger problem is not the young people who quit. It is the old people who stay on. And that was his first point. Really, they are the biggest villains in an organization. They are the people who are pulling the organization down. They are the people who are the politics creators in the organization.
And we call them culture disruptors.
Yeah, and they are absolutely, and they are the ones
you can't take them out. Very difficult to take.
They will never leave.
Deep root in the company.
And so I don't have a problem with any youngster coming in and going out in 2 years or 3 years. I've done the same multiple times, and I have not damaged an organization, but there are those people who are staying on in the organization who have created more damage than I've ever done by quitting an organization. And that's true of all these youngsters. No problem if you quit. Have a great thing. Don't burn bridges, of course, but
how you convey it is where
and it's also the ego of managers. Oh, why is he quitting? Why didn't he tell me? He told somebody else this thing about what he said about telling somebody and quitting. He told somebody else. He didn't tell me. Why am I coming to know? It's all middle management's ego.
It's a function of the culture that we are in. Much like how marriage is. If you have a divorce, it's a taboo, right? If you're a single person, it's a taboo. So it's the same thing. It's like how we have been brought up that if there is a separation, it must be bad. It's not necessarily that.
I'll just share a slightly different perspective. So for us, managed and unmanaged attrition is very important. So if it's managed, it's okay. But if it's unmanaged, it's literally taken very, very seriously. Why? Because we are a client-facing organization. If you're going to have people quit every few months, 2 years, 1 year, you lose knowledge. When you lose knowledge, you cannot deliver quality services, right? And so for us, keeping employees engaged, providing them opportunity within the organization rather than losing them is very critical. So attrition is not a good word from where I come. Managed is different, but unmanaged is not so we try to do lots of things to keep them engaged. If we sense that people are getting bored of what they're doing, we might as well give them roles within the organization rather than lose them.
One more angle to this, kind of different opinion from you, what you said. Definitely opportunities attract people to join another organization, but for an organization as an HR, it's very important for us to keep and retain critical talent. So we need to have that kind of opportunities available to retain those talent. And in case there are culture disruptors who are creating nuisance for those people, we need to identify those disruptors and take them out or take action against. If we are delayed in taking action, even for few days, that takes a long toll on those people, because these are critical people. They keep, the moment you have that nudge inside your mind that something is not right, that start increasing day by day, especially just like example of marriage. So we need to identify the nudge right away, and we need to have those systems, those surveys, and whatever, that intelligence system in the company should be robust enough to identify that nudge from that company critical talent, so that we kill the issue then and there.
I think I would see that as a very positive sign, number one, because as he said that people are always looking for opportunities. So if somebody feels that, okay, I want to be out of the full-time employee and I want to be a freelancer, which means that that person feels that I can do much more. I can be freelancing with one company and multiple companies.
How do the marriage survive, especially arranged marriage? Joint families, Nani, Chachi, Mausi, Tai, Chachi, these people work as an ambassador of the culture. One from the boys' side and girls' side both. And whatever small issues start creeping in after marriage, especially in initial years, they help them to resolve to large extent, to do the grapevine communication, positive communication also. All sorts of things do happen, and that's why the marriage survives. Similarly, in a company also, we need to have those kind of ambassadors, influencers, promoters. So we started this initiative in our company. So we have a culture ambassador, culture promoter, and culture influencers. So these people work in the same way, and they silently work with those kind of people. So I think that could be one example.
I think I see a challenge very differently, guys. If you look at the younger generation, the biggest challenge they have is they're impatient. Let's acknowledge that first. They need everything like Zomato. Now, midnight, 2 o'clock, I want to order now. That is a culture coming into corporate. In corporate, it doesn't operate like that. When I address students, I tell them, it is not your home, you order something, get it is Zomato or Swiggy. In corporate, you have a process, you have a policy, you have a procedure, you have to follow.
Can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
There's this concept of conditioned continuous. Employees come to you and say, if you can promote me next 1 month, that's fine, otherwise I'll go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the impatient I'm referring to. Yeah.
Clock starts now.
You can't
Or
give.
I need a raise.
Raise or promotion or
You
transfer.
can't dictate that because organization is foundation of the policies and procedures and rules and regulations. If you don't understand that and you bring that home culture back to office, that is where the struggle is. One of the biggest qualities they need to learn is being patient. They don't have it.
So these kids are like your kids.
Correct, that's what I'm
So
saying.
how do you manage your kids? We have to manage those kids also. Marriage example. As you manage your Gen Z, Gen Alpha kids, they are just like that only.